Welcome to the TIMFD podcast. Today is my favorite day is about appreciating every day as it comes, no matter what life throws at us. We hope that this podcast speaks to you, and if it does, please like, share, and comment. Now let's find out why today is our favorite day this week.
Hey guys, Dave here, and we have Duellyn. Duellyn I've known for a long time, and you're going to be pretty impressed, I think, because I am, with her career. So first of all, Duellyn, thank you for being here with us.
Glad to be here.
And then secondly, tell me what you do as your job with S, I guess, behind it with many S's. So tell us what you do right now in your life.
So my primary career position, I suppose, would be working for USF.
Yeah.
I am director of clinical practice for USF. And what that means is that I oversee the College of Nursing's clinics. We have 2 autonomous nurse practitioner run clinics.
Oh,
and
okay. One of them is by the port, isn't it?
Yes, that's right. So that's our brick and mortar. It serves the Seafarers. We partner with the Seafarers ministry that's been there for a very long time.
So you guys partner with them?
Yeah, we share the same building with them. Yeah.
Okay.
And then the other part of the clinic is the MoBull health bus.
I know about that.
Yeah, the MoBull, MoBull. Go Bulls.
Makes sense, the MoBull. And so where does that go and what does that do? Just that.
So they are, it's funded by a 4-year HRSA grant. We just got our 4th year funding, which is, thank goodness.
Yeah.
And we partner with local community partners. We go to Salvation Army twice a week.
Wow.
We partner with Catholic Charities with Tampa Hope and Pinellas Hope. And we also partner with Metropolitan Ministries.
Wow.
And
this is through USF?
Yes, this is
the University of South Florida.
The College of Nursing specifically.
My gosh, that's amazing.
Yes, and so our goal, the MoBull Health Unit is primary care clinic because as autonomous nurse practitioners, we can only practice primary care.
Okay.
So our goal in visiting those locations is to make a difference for those that, number one, can't get to a location, are afraid to be seen, don't have the money. And so we don't charge anything because we're funded by a federal grant. We have that flexibility. We don't ask what their financial background is. We don't really care. Our goal is to be that familiar face every 2 weeks.
Okay.
And sometimes actually Salvation Army, we're going twice a week. So we want to be that recurring provider for those patients so that they don't slip through the cracks. We keep them out of the hospital, and we can really help them maintain their care.
Wow. Well, on a biblical end, I just got to say, Jesus is the great healer, and to you to be in this kind of field is always, to me, very impressive. So, all right. I know when you tell me why you went into the medical field, not going back and getting your degrees, but why did you go in the medical field in the first place? What was the reason behind that? Was it because of getting a good job? I mean, something to pay for? Or?
No, not really.
Okay.
I mean, it's funny because, I always wanted to be a nurse.
Oh, wow.
And after my mother passed, we were cleaning out her house and I found all my books from kindergarten. And that's when I saw my All About Me book that I had written in kindergarten.
Really?
And I don't remember this at all, but on the very last page it said that, and it had a picture and I drew a nurse and everything. And so apparently since kindergarten I've wanted to be a nurse.
Wow.
And so I pursued that. And then, I graduated with my RN degree from UAB in 93.
Okay.
And then I practiced ever since. And then I went, Randy and I opened up our business, which is career number, probably the first career before the USF career. But
that was the vaccine
Yeah,
business?
that's the vaccine clinic. It's Passport Health Tampa Bay.
Yep.
And, we were seeing patients who are traveling internationally. So we're helping them make sure they're safe from, foreign diseases, things communicable or, things you can pick up like measles, which is a big target right now.
Okay.
typhoid, Hep A, all that kind of stuff. So we prepare them for international travel. And I was able to do that as a registered nurse with a collaborating physician as my my partner in this. So, we saw all the patients, and our physician agreed to supervise us for that.
Wow.
And so this is our 20th year in business.
I know, you guys have been in a long time.
And so we're excited about that. But along the way of those 20 years, we realized that our business was expanding into different areas, and we were providing physicals for people who were serving overseas, especially during a lot of the Middle East crisis.
Yes.
And those physicals, were required a provider to do those, of a, either a nurse practitioner, a physician assistant, or a medical doctor needed to complete those. And I thought, well, I could do that if I went back to school.
I remember that when you were saying that you were going back to school. I go, what? I was going, what?
Yeah.
Why? But
well,
the reason for it was
to save money. I wouldn't have to pay somebody else.
There we go.
I could pay myself.
That was wise.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you went and got your doctorate. How does that work? I don't know how that works.
So as an RN, I had my bachelor's.
Okay.
So they had a program at USF that went from the bachelor's of nursing to the doctorate of nursing degree.
Okay.
And I got my master's along the way.
I remember it was a long, arduous process.
Like 3.5 years.
Yeah, I remember that. It was a lot of work.
And that was full time. So
Yes.
they do have part-time plans. I went full time.
Yeah, you went
and
for it.
So my master's degree is what earned me my nurse practitioner degree.
Okay.
And then the doctorate is my doctorate in nursing practice, which is more of a clinical focus as opposed to PhD research.
Okay. But that opened the door for you to not have to have that other person
At Passport Health.
at
Correct.
Passport Health.
Correct.
Which then saved you guys money.
Yes.
Gave a little more clarity to you guys, the two of you working together to go do this.
Yes.
And you can streamline things.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And with this particular business, you also had a lot of other ministry things going on. So you guys have been all over the place, correct?
As far as missions?
Yes.
Yes, overseas missions, that's correct. Having the practice kind of opened the door to an organization that's local to Tampa called CWE. And
what does that stand for? I know you say CWE, so I don't
say
remember.
CWE. And they changed the name from Construction for Worldwide Evangelism.
I remember that.
To
it's not construction anymore.
It's
something
not
else?
construction. It's
We don't know.
Christians for
Worldwide Evangelism?
Worldwide
Has to be, 'cause
Evangelism.
that's the name.
It
It's
has
still the
to
name.
be, because it's still CWE.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, because they expanded what they were doing, correct?
They
had
did.
construction, but now they have medical stuff
they
going on.
did. So about 10 years into the construction, they realized that they were meeting a certain number of people, maybe 10 to 15, and sharing the gospel. But they saw what medicine can do, and medicine can open the door to so many more. And so they added on the medical component about 10 years into the ministry, and we go for like 5 days and see over 1,000 people.
Amazing. I've heard the stories of what you saw there, and it's pretty traumatic as far as awesome in that way, just the amount of lives changed.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes, for the gospel's sake.
Yes, for the gospel's sake. And that's fulfilling.
Yes,
right?
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
And, we take a team of about 22 people, and everyone has their purpose, and it's not, we offer them the opportunity to hear the gospel at the end of their whatever they're there for, whether they need dental, whether they need medicine or eyeglasses. And so we offer them that opportunity. So I sit on that board, the medical board for CWE. And it's just a privilege to be able to do that.
That's amazing. I love that. So I have some questions for you.
Sure.
I wrote some down, so I just want to kind of go over those, and then I'm going to loop back to some of the stuff.
Okay.
So you just talked about around the world. How do you believe God has used you as you've done work around the world? What have you seen? Some stories that you've seen, some life change that you've seen? Because I think I want to hear it. But could you not? I know you have a bunch, but could you pick a couple?
Yes,
Okay.
I'll pick one.
Okay, one.
So this one was really, really, and I know the story, but I can't remember the country. I want to say it was either Haiti. I'm pretty sure it was Haiti. I don't think it was Dominican.
Okay.
But when we went into the village, it's a very strong voodoo practice there.
Absolutely.
And I don't think it wasn't Togo, and it may have been Cameroon, but I don't think it was Cameroon. I really think it was Haiti.
Okay. And you've been all around the world. That's
I know. So anyway, so we went in, and we always take pictures of the site and the locations. And when they gather, the lines, we get there at like 8 a.m, and the line's out the door. There's like over 500 people waiting.
Oh my goodness.
And we give them tickets, and everybody waits in line. And so, we see people as they come and they go. And again, like we talked about, we offer them, the salvation and prayer.
Yeah. And they use a cube.
The Evangel cube. We use the Evangel cube. And then, everybody, so we collect all our pictures at the end, and at the end of each day, we talk about it. We kind of debrief of what we saw. And this one story came out, and you could see the pictures, and it was this one woman. She was very, very definitive in her statue and her look. And she wore a hat, and that's how you kind of knew who she was. And all of our pictures from the team members, and she was very defiant, very in your face, and you could just sense a presence of heaviness, just over her whole personality. And then afterwards, at the end of the day, because we took pictures before and after, you could see her whole countenance had changed. And she was smiling, and she was joyful. I mean, and truly you could see the difference between darkness and light in her. Wow. And it's just a privilege to be able to serve God in that way. Not, our medicine is really just a Band-Aid to meet the ultimate healing of what God can do to a life.
And I can see you light up when you're talking about that. So you got your degrees, and I believe God's using you at USF with the initiatives that are going on. I've seen you a lot on social media lately too.
Yeah.
You've had a lot going on out there, and a lot of stuff's happening with USF, and a lot of things that he's using with you. Did you ever think that you would be used in this way at USF in 1993 or 2000 even, or even 2005 or whatever?
Yeah.
I mean, you're doing there's a lot that God's using you for.
Yeah.
It's not easy, and I know that. Your life is busy.
Spread thin.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, and it's funny. It's because when we were running Passport Health as an RN, I said, I'll never go back to school. I'll never go back to school. And one of my girlfriends that owned a Passport Health down in South Florida, she went back, and I was like, why in the world would you do that?
Yes.
I was like, oh, and then I did it. But I do see, I don't, in looking back where I was, did I forecast where I am today? No. Never. Yeah. I would never have anticipated the blessings that have come along. And I do see them as blessings. It's when someone sees something in you that sometimes you don't see in yourself, and they task you with that responsibility. It's considered an honor.
It's a huge honor.
And you step into that role, and that you hope you do a good job with it, and that you're successful. So, one of the things that we do at the Seafarers Center, both clinics are very different from each other. They're both serving a need to those that don't have access, I suppose.
So can you explain Seafarers and what they do? Because I do know what it is, but someone here, they're not going to know it at all. Yeah. And then how you combine with them to do this work. This is right at the port.
Yeah,
right?
So this is in the restricted area of the port. It's like if you think, I'm going to go to the Seafarers Center and get seen.
No.
Well, you can't, because either if you have a pass to get back in the restricted area, then of course we can see you. And if you need to come, I can call a pass in for you. Yeah. But most of the workers that work at Amelie Oil, they work at Cargill, Marathon, they have access to the port clinic because they're on there every single day. And the seafarers that are coming in, so it's twofold. So you have all the employees that work at the port.
At the port.
That the longshoremen, the Coast Guard, the tugboats, everything. They have access to come to the clinic.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that.
In addition to all the cargo ships that are coming in, not so much the cruise lines, because like Carnival, Margaritaville, all of those, they go to a different port at Channelside.
Yeah, I knew that.
And so ours are really the cargo ships that are bringing in, like Mosaic, the fertilizer, where you're shipping fertilizer in, fertilizer out. They're usually in for either 3 days or 7 days, depending on what the load is. And if they're transitioning port to port, it may be 2 weeks that they're out at sea. It may be 3 months that they're out at sea.
Wow.
And they don't have access to internet. Only the captain does. Sometimes they have a sat phone. They usually will have a medical, infirmary on the ship. Some ships are really well stocked with medicine, and they have like treatment guidelines that the captain can go by, and they have someone they can call. But if it's deemed that the patient or the crew member is sick enough that they need to come off the ship, then they can come see us at our clinic. And number one, it saves them time because it's about a 40-minute drive off to get to a clinic, and then you got to wait and be seen at the clinic, as opposed to, we're 15 minutes away from where the ship is. And it really does save them a lot of time and money and effort.
Okay. And so Seafarers is a Christian organization in the area, correct?
The Seafarers Ministry, the Port of Tampa Seafarers Ministry.
So they present the good news to people?
They do.
On there, and you guys get to do work with them.
We do.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So we share the building with them, and like sometimes we'll have to go to a ship because the individual may have a reason why they can't get off. And they'll take us over there, and they'll give us the hard hat and the vest and
the whole thing.
The whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then do you work at those, or do you fulfill the positions of people being at Seafarers and the people that are on the MoBull thing? As far as I can think, I doubt you are out there,
right?
Because you're having to administrate a lot of stuff.
It's more of an administrative role for sure. There are a lot of times where I do go down to the Seafarers Center just to make sure that
things are going well.
Things are going well. They know what they're doing. And
do you miss kind of getting out there a little bit?
Yeah,
I know, because that's why you got into the whole business in the first place.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
Yeah, that makes sense because you like people. You're a people person, so you like connecting, right?
Yes.
And doing that.
Yes.
And I say that because I did something really stupid here at this church. So I just want you guys to know why I've kind of experienced her firsthand on this, and her and Randy. I went out here in the middle of summer. This is a couple of years ago, and I was not supposed to be outside in that heat. And I worked with another guy and put myself in a place where I couldn't keep any fluids in. It was so bad. I had to go to you guys, and you stuck me with a bunch of fluids a couple of days in a row. And you looked at me and said, "Yeah, that wasn't smart on your part to do what you did."
I don't think I said that.
That wasn't very smart of you. And it was bad. And Tanya was on the phone with you because I was in a pretty bad place. And I appreciate you doing that for me, just to help me out there. But you guys, I know that you want to be with people. That's why you do the mission stuff you do, so you can do work, but also talk with people. Right?
Yes, for sure.
So you have a lot of initiatives going on. So not only do you have those two things, do you teach it all over there?
I do.
You do? Okay.
I do.
I thought you taught, and I was going, I better ask just to see. Yeah. So what do you teach over there too?
So
beyond what you already do there.
So when I went through the doctoral program, one of the instructors kind of took me under her wing. Okay. And she says, "Duellyn, this is going to be your course. You're going to start teaching practice management," because I've been doing
it forever.
Doing it forever. Yeah. And so that's kind of what got me in to USF and teaching was her vision and knowing that I could teach. So I've been teaching that course for about 7 years.
Yes, you have.
And and then I eventually, went full time teaching. In addition to the Passport Health and my private, primary care clinic.
Yes, the clinic that you have.
Yeah, which is Azimuth Health. It's separate. So we have Passport Health and we have Azimuth Health, which when you think, so I have to explain the name.
Yes.
So when you think about the direction of your life, when you use a compass, you plot an azimuth.
Yes.
And so that's what
I love that name.
The name.
By the way,
That's why we have the name.
Yeah, when you told me the name, I went, "That's really kind of cool." So just your small, not busy schedule.
Yes.
You are teaching courses.
Yes.
Full time.
Yes. And that's in practice management is a doctoral level class.
Yes.
So the other classes that I taught were on the master's level,
Right.
where it's the first time nurse practitioner. They're learning everything clinical, all the body systems.
Yes. So what do you do in the doctoral side of things then?
Practice management. Yeah.
Okay. So the practice management.
Yeah.
Can you explain what that would be real quick?
How to run a clinic,
Okay.
Quality improvement, process improvement, business plans, the whole financial side
That's what I was
of
wondering. Yeah.
running a clinic, understanding budgets, understanding variances, profit and loss statements,
All that fun stuff.
all that fun stuff.
That you're not taught a lot of
Yeah.
times, and you're getting to
No.
teach that
Yeah.
so they can go into a practical sense, do whatever God asks them to do, whatever they're going to do. So,
And one other thing that we do at the doctoral level is the students have to do a project to graduate.
Okay.
So when I graduated, mine was on the effectiveness of text messaging reminders for oral typhoid vaccine, because it's kind of a pain in the butt to take the oral typhoid vaccine. And so that was what my project was on. But the other students, they can choose what they want to do. So right now I'm mentoring 3 DNP students.
Wow.
And they are on the MoBull Health unit. One is looking at the financial savings that the MoBull Health unit saves industry, like the hospital systems.
Okay.
And one
Because
is
it's mobile and it's not a brick and mortar, or
no, more so we're keeping them out of the hospital.
oh, got it.
The ER visits
That
for
makes sense.
the homeless population.
That makes total sense. I get it now,
charity
yeah.
care.
That's great.
That kind of thing. And the other one is looking at the hepatitis C. We're starting a grant to test for hepatitis C.
Wow. Wow.
So there's a lot going
That's
on.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay, so teaching courses, Passport Health, Azimuth Health, the clinics, and is there anything else that we add on to that?
There is one more. I also work.
Hey, Alex, we're like bums, man, compared to her. Go ahead.
There is one more. It's a fellow Christian that approached me to come alongside and work with him with his company, and it's called Age MD.
Okay.
And it's health and wellness. It's getting your life back on track through weight management, hormone therapy, imbalance. So, we do a lot of coaching and prescribing and reviewing and, maintaining, because if you want to lose 30 pounds or 50 pounds, there's plans that we can do and medicines that we can prescribe for that.
Wow.
As well as hormone replacement. Sometimes women get to a certain point in their life and they're like, what the heck is going on with me? I don't feel good. I can't stay awake. I'm tired all the time.
That happened to me. Yeah.
And
absolutely.
so, we can pull labs and look at all sorts of things, look at your diet, your exercise, and then create a plan for you for wellness.
I love that. Wow. And so you added that onto the
I did.
the whole thing. Okay. All right. So how do you keep sanity? How do you keep yourself, because you're taking care of everybody else. So how do you keep you in a good place, and how much of a struggle it is to do that spiritually, physically, emotionally? Because people are going to watch this and they're going to go, I'm going to do what Duellyn does.
Don't do what Duellyn does.
They're going to try to jump into a bunch of different stuff, and only a few people really can do that kind of schedule. And you have the capacity to do it, of course. But what do you do to even keep capacity, or and are you doing that? And where would be maybe some of the failures that someone may kind of look on that? Go ahead.
I would say first and foremost is you have to have a great relationship with God.
Yeah.
You've got to have him first and centered in your life.
Okay.
Because he's your pivot point. Second is your relationship with your husband.
Yep.
And if you don't have a good relationship, I mean, he balances me so much.
Randy cracks me up.
He's
so logical.
He's logical. And that's a good part, because he's so black and white, and I'm so.
I could do that.
I'm fluid, and we, and in our work together, he's all. He does a lot of the financial side of it, and I do all the medicine side of it, and it's a good balance. And he doesn't tell me how to practice medicine, and I don't tell him how to balance the books.
No.
So, it works well together, and that's the way we run our household as well.
That's great.
So, I think those two things are critical, and making sure that you're setting time aside for God, and time aside for your spouse.
So how do you do that? So for you, I know what I have to do every day. If I don't do it, if I don't have my quiet time, if I don't have, and I don't get my exercise in, but man, the quiet time is the number one thing. If I don't get that, and then Tanya and I do this, what we call a DTR, which is just a few questions that we do every day. What do you do with your relationship with God? What do you do to keep yourself in a decent place, in a good place? Just because your schedule's nuts.
Yeah. A lot of times it's listening in the car.
That's what I want to know. I want people to hear that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so right now, and I'm very behind in my reading through the Bible, but there was a great one that someone posted January 1st, and I thought, I'm going to do that
every day.
I'm going to do that every single day. And it's like, okay, I need to make up for 6 days.
No, you don't.
How long of a car drive is it to get there? 6 days. So I'll do 6 days on one road trip.
This is a person with a doctorate degree. This is what happens when they. I will catch up.
I'm going to catch up.
That's funny.
But I love listening. I mean, Deuteronomy really got me behind. But so I'm kind of stuck in Deuteronomy right now. I'm stuck in Deuteronomy.
Boy, a lot of people get stuck there too.
I know.
I do understand that. So your thing is, right now you listen when you drive, because you have a drive.
Yeah, going to USF and then
so
going.
How long does that take you to get over there?
Usually it's a good 40 minutes.
I was going to say,
if I leave after 7, then it's an hour.
Yes.
For both, and the port is a good hour.
Okay, so you got time in the car.
Yes, I do.
So you get to listen. Are you listening to like YouVersion? What are you listening to? What do you remember what you are listening to right now?
It is on YouVersion.
Okay, and that's what I do.
Yeah, it is a YouVersion through the Bible app with, I think her first name is Tara.
Okay, I don't do the through the Bible. I just grabbed like every year I do a different translation. Mm-hmm. So I think this one's an NLT, which I never have done before, because my daughter Rebecca, I found her Bible. And so I opened up, and there was notes that she had in and stuff. I said, you know what? I'm going to go through this translation this year. So what I do is I start Genesis 1, right? And I turn on I just go to the NLT, and I hit Genesis 1, and I'm reading it, and I'm just listening to it while I'm reading, and then I take my notes and do all that stuff and look to see what she wrote. And it's been kind of a wild ride this year.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get. I don't think I'll get through. I usually can get through in a year. That's what last 30 some odd years I've done that. But this year I'm taking a little more time because I see the notes, and it makes me sit and contemplate, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I do.
Well, this one is a chronological order.
Oh, you're doing the chrono. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and it's like, wait a minute. Did that happen? I don't believe that. and then I go on like a wild goose chase of research of like, I don't believe that happened then, because this other chronological Bible says it happened then, and this one was then, and so anyway.
That's a good thing.
But it makes you dig, which is good.
That's a good thing. So you would say that for you, with all your schedule, with all the different things you're involved with, and the success you've experienced, you would say that the Word of God is the number one deal. Your time with Jesus is the number one thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the second thing with your husband, I know you guys travel, so that's one thing that I know you guys do. Is that one of the things you do for your marriage? What else do you do to keep that marriage in a good place? Because you guys are literally complete opposites, and in a good way. But what do you guys do to make sure you guys are in a good place?
We always talk through things.
Good.
And that's, kind of a debrief at the end of the day. Well, because he's doing something different than what I'm doing, because a lot of my focus is on USF, and he really focuses more on Passport Health. And, I get text messages through the day of different things that are going on, where I answer questions or resolve conflicts. But he's in the day-to-day of Passport Health. And so then we compare notes of, how did this go for you? How did that go for you? Or what's your schedule tomorrow? And who's going to feed the dogs? And
that's right, you guys. The banshee of dogs that you guys have.
Who's going to feed the dogs? Is there a thunderstorm coming?
That's right, because the dogs freak out.
They
over
do.
That.
They get so nervous with the thunderstorms.
Their dogs are hilarious, just so you know. They're funny. So you debrief. You do a debrief, which is important for everybody to be able to talk things through, right? But you also go on trips. So you just went on a trip.
No, two.
Was it two? Because I saw the pictures. I was living in envy with them, and that's okay. That's a good thing.
We've had 3 great trips recently.
So tell me some of what you
March, we went to Puerto Rico.
I saw that. I don't remember that.
That was where Randy was born. So this is the first time he's been back since he was like 3. He don't remember any of it.
Because he was a military kid.
Yes, his dad was in the Air Force.
Yes.
And so that was really fun. And the reason that we went was because Stephen, our son, is a pilot, and he was stationed there for like 5 months.
That was the trip.
That's the trip.
Okay, that's right.
And so that was a lot of fun because we got to visit Stephen, see what he did. He flew us to St. Bart's, and it was a big surprise. So that was really nice.
By the way, Stephen is just so you guys know, Stephen is a very tall, good-looking guy. He did modeling and all that kind of stuff at one time, and then he ended up marrying a very good-looking girl, and they're a cute couple. So they're now back. Sweet. They've just moved down, so they're back at Stuart, right?
They're in Stuart, yes.
Stuart, Florida. So a little closer,
very much so,
than they were way up north.
Yeah, they were in Connecticut.
Yep. Yeah. So
absolutely.
that's kind of nice to have that more of a connection. We see them more and that kind of thing. So you.
So that was Puerto Rico. The second trip was went to we went to Utah. We did the Golden Circle is what they call it of the national park. Yes. So Arches, Canyonlands.
That was pretty cool. I saw some of your pictures.
Yeah, that was just really, really incredible. Yeah. So Randy and I were driving the support van for about 4 or 5 motorcyclists that were
doing that trip.
And it was a lot of fun. We got to see some beautiful things.
Yeah.
Incredible. We did Horseshoe Bend from the top, and then the next day we were canoeing Horseshoe Bend.
Wow.
So 2 different perspectives.
Wow.
And then we went to San Diego, which was basically a work trip for me. I spoke at the conference for the American Association of Nurse Practitioners.
Okay, so you spoke there.
I spoke at the conference.
One extra thing.
And then I was inducted into the Fellows of American Association of Nurse Practitioners.
I saw that. Now tell me what that means. What is that about? I saw that and I was going, wow, that sounds pretty cool.
It's a big deal. It's kind of the pinnacle of your career.
Wow.
It's not something you go, I'm going to join the Fellows. No, it's somebody, 2 people have to come alongside you and sponsor you.
Wow.
And say that you're ready to join the Fellows. And what the Fellows is about is to be a fellow is based on your career, what you have done as a nurse practitioner to advance the role of nurse practitioners.
Wow.
And so it was a deep dive into everything that I have done to advance the role for nurse practitioners.
That's really neat.
And it was in teaching and in practice.
Yeah. And you're doing both.
I'm still doing both.
Doing both.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing, that's a huge honor. When I saw it, I went to Tanya and I go, look at this. And she goes, wow, that's a big deal. But I think the biggest honor for you is the opportunity to see so many different people come to Christ over the times that you guys have gotten to be a part of mission organizations around the world. You've got to have a part in other people's lives that you would have never ran into, and God's used that because you've had this medical background for one, that gave you the opportunity to go out there. And I think sometimes, I think that when we get to heaven, it's going to be kind of fun, to be able to kind of go have someone come up and go, I know you, and you made a difference in my life. And you're going to go, how? Right?
Yeah.
How? You were there taking care of us. And someone told the good news.
Yeah, and that's what's so interesting from a teaching perspective too, because you run into people and they're like, I remember you. I heard you taught me in so-and-so class.
Yes.
And it's like, I did. He goes, and you did this and you did that. And I'm like, you do your job, and hopefully you're doing your job well, and you're instilling the values in what they need to know to become a nurse practitioner. And the same thing, in the ministry field is, you're putting a Band-Aid on something that, providing Tylenol and, backache medicine, because you think about what those jobs are in the mission field as opposed to our jobs. We sit at a desk all day. They're out there, truly doing physical labor.
They are.
And, their aches are different than our aches.
Yes.
But the ultimate goal is, salvation.
Yes.
And
it's a team. That, when you guys go out with CWE, it's a team of people doing, some people are cooking, some people are dispensing medicine, some people are doing the gospel right there. But the whole team, if someone comes to Christ, that whole team has been a part of that.
That's true.
I always say that with the church. When someone comes to Christ here at the church, the whole team is a part of it.
Yeah.
From the greeting to children to tech to whomever, the whole team has been used of God to have that. God said, I'm going to put that person in that place at that time for this purpose.
Yes.
And that's, to me, always exciting.
Yes, it is.
The whole team aspect is really kind of cool. So for you, what are the next things you're wanting to do in the next, are you going to be retiring in the next 5 years? No. I didn't think so.
No.
I thought, what are you wanting to, what is some of your next things that you'd like to see happen for you?
Obviously I'm going to stay on at USF, continue teaching and making a difference. And, I would love to go on more mission trips.
Okay.
That opportunity to make a difference, until the ends of the earth. That's what we have to do.
Kind of a big deal.
Yeah, it's kind of
a big deal. That Acts 1:8 is a big deal.
Yeah, the Great Commission, until everybody hears, we don't get to go home.
That's right. Yeah. And so that you would like to do more of that.
Yes, I would.
Okay.
I would.
And do you have has God kind of through your reading, prayer and stuff, kind of, I'm not so much saying, but moved you to say, I would like to go here? I mean, I don't know if you have specific, I've heard people say, I know I'm supposed to go to Africa, or I know I'm supposed to go to South America, or I know do you have anything like that, or is it
really
any place
don't.
that God wants you to go?
Yeah, kind of that.
Good.
I love Cameroon. I would love to go back to Cameroon if it was in Togo, but I think Togo's on the no-go list right now.
Well, right now there's a lot of craziness going on.
Yes, and I think Cameroon may be
it is
on that list as well.
It's a little nutty right now.
It is, and so.
And why would you want to go back?
The people.
The people?
Yeah, they're just incredible people.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. And so you were they open to the good news?
Yes, very much so. And the connection that we have in Cameroon, we partner with ABWE, and it's a, what do you call it, where pastors go to school?
Oh, seminary?
A seminary, yeah.
Okay.
So it's a seminary that ABWE has in Cameroon. And Dr. Sylviane, her husband is one of the faculty members there. And then then they have a compound, and they really pull from all the countries that kind of border Cameroon. And so you've got Chad and some of these other places. Wow. And it's just a really interesting site. And she was adopted by American missionaries, raised in America, went to medical school here, went to Christian college here in Florida, and then she went back to Cameroon because she knew that
she went back.
She went back to Cameroon to make a difference and to open up a clinic and to maintain. And she goes out into the far villages.
Is she still there right now?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. God called her and she went right back.
She did.
Wow. Okay. So you would like to see yourself be able to go back there and help?
Yes. Yeah,
and help
absolutely.
with that particular ministry itself. That's really kind of cool. I can see your heart for that.
Yeah.
I can see it. You're going, I would love to go back there.
Yes.
And so you're right now, does CWE do anything over there? Or?
Oh, yeah. We've partnered a lot with that ministry.
Okay.
And we were anticipating going back in October.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if it's going to happen.
A little hairy right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And is that, I don't know if there is a civil war going on. I don't know what's going on over there. It's very odd what's happening at this moment.
Yeah, I can't say.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what's going on over there, but a lot of that area is having problems.
Yes.
And so we could be praying for them, that's for sure. Okay, let me look at my list just to make sure I don't forget anything, because I have a tendency to do that. What opportunities are available for medical people to be used in mission work? So let's say you have students that are come to you and say, hey, I would like to do something like this. What do you tell them?
So there are a number of opportunities in organizations where if they wanted to do medical missions, they could.
Really?
Not only CWE with opportunities. Our trips are a little bit more limited.
Yes.
Maybe 2 or 3 a year.
Yep.
We're still ramping back up from COVID. But the Christian Medical Dental Association is a huge organization. The Billy Graham Association.
Yep.
Both of them have ample opportunities for students to go, especially those that are like in residency or have completed, some part of their training to go on mission trips.
Okay. So they could do that. Do you ever have students even ask about that kind of stuff? I mean,
they do. Yeah.
Really?
They all want to go do something overseas.
Really?
They really do.
What do you think that has caused that?
I don't know. I mean, a desire to serve those that are less fortunate.
Okay.
Maybe not so much the spiritual need as much it is the physical need. Yeah.
Okay.
But you can tap into that spiritual need because the students may not have the spiritual awareness.
Yeah.
But
so they could go on a trip like that and using their medical background and then be basically exposed to Christianity around all these people.
Absolutely.
And they can at least start asking questions themselves.
Absolutely.
Which I think is awesome. Yeah, I love that. All right, and then lastly, how has God used you for his work around the world that you can say, this is how God's used me specifically? And it could be in here, the United States too. I'm anything.
Oh, you know what?
Beyond your family.
Yes, I know. One of the things that we didn't talk about, this was another thing that I do.
Okay.
Operation Christmas Child.
Oh, that's right. We didn't even talk about that. Okay, Operation Christmas Child. Explain what that is.
So this is part of the Billy Graham Association ministry, and in order to reach the 4 corners of the earth, and they have a mission that every child is exposed, and the way that they do that, exposed to the gospel.
Yes, exposed to the gospel.
And the way that they do that is by building these shoe boxes. And for us, it happens at Christmas time in the United States because that's our focus, is Jesus' birthday. So these boxes are created and they have certain guidelines of what can go in them, but you always have like a wow gift, like a stuffed toy, but you also
I get soccer balls. That's what I get.
Something, but you also have hygiene items, things that are very practical for them. And so our church, the Harbor, serves as a drop-off point. And then we challenge our congregation to create these boxes too. You can buy them online. You don't have to put it together yourself. But you could,
there's putting it together.
I know. I like putting it together. And then we stack the boxes here.
Yeah, we stack them on stage. It's pretty fun.
So I'm the volunteer coordinator for our drop-off site here. And, to me, it is, it's a really interesting way to reach a child for the gospel. And the locations that are receiving of these gifts, they have to agree to discipleship, to the journey.
I love that. I love that. That's the one thing I like about this whole thing is.
And so if they receive the box and they distribute the boxes, then they have to make sure that that child enters into that discipline and goes through the process of understanding what the box means and what it means to be a Christian and the promise of salvation.
In their language.
In their language.
Which I love.
In their language. Yeah. And the interesting piece about this is that we always think that they get it at Christmas time, but they don't. These boxes may take 3 months, 4 months, 6 months to get to a destination. So they may get it in July.
Right.
So
and
it's
it
not.
Takes, and the process of going through the process in the United States, going on boats, getting off the docks to big trucks, maybe to then smaller trucks, to maybe even an ox carrying him with a cart, a little cart. It's amazing.
Yeah, it really truly is amazing. What the Billy Graham Crusade does through Operation Christmas Child.
Yes. And it was funny, I just interviewed Jason Finch, who is at our church, and he works with Lowe's. And he's a kind of a guy that deals with all the devastating things that happen around here. And he said that the Lowe's leaders pray for these places before they go in for the deal with devastation. Billy Graham Crusade or Samaritan's Purse is the other one that they run into all the time. And so Samaritan's Purse, by the way, if you ever hear about them, please be a support of them. They're awesome. But yes, I can't wait to get that going. That will start probably around October for us.
Yes, that's
right around
correct.
there. Right?
That's right. That's
so
right.
We'll get ahead of that, hitting around probably next month. We're going to have to start talking about that. And so one more thing to add to your plate.
Yeah. But I think to me, being able to see the children's eyes light up and smile and know that they are having the opportunity to hear the gospel and a chance of salvation.
Well, let's put it in very practical terms. Your daughter-in-law actually received a box when she was in her country growing up.
That's true.
And that's the wild part. And we have a couple of people from Ukraine that now live here, and their children received, and now their children are and they're going to be 19, 20. Mm-hmm. They say, I got one of those boxes when it was just, we were in a bad place. Things were going crazy, and I was able to receive this.
Yeah.
So yes,
we've
seen practical things.
It's full circle. Yeah.
It's really kind of neat. Thank you for being here. We went 46 minutes. That's awesome. Almost 47. All right. Thank you, Duellyn, for being here. I would love to have you come back again another time to just talk about this.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, guys. Have a great day. Today is your favorite day. Go for it. Get out there and make a difference. Take it easy.
Thank you for listening to TIMFD. Today is my favorite day. Views, comments, and opinions are those of the host and guest alone. TIMFD is produced and directed by Alex Korn. Thank you for listening. Have a great day, live intentionally, and be very blessed.